We are about to go into a new moon in tropical Sagittarius and in Vedic Sidereal Scorpio. This energy feels like such a significant reprieve from the last few moon cycles we've had, both of which have been eclipses. Stepping out of this eclipse season, going into this brand new energy of Sagittarius, the optimist, the truth seeker, the energy which is having us question our philosophies and question whether or not these philosophies are still applying for the life we want to live and the things we want to do and the people that we want to become moving forward. This new moon is going to be in tropical hexagram 34, which is the beginning few degrees of Sagittarius. And hexagram 34, also known as gene key 34, gate 34 in the human design system, is all about understanding our power and using our power wisely without exploiting it and without trying to force the things in our life from the internal pressure of having that power. So in a really high frequency, we can stay fully embodied in our truth and fully embodied in our desires and how we want to express these desires, right? And how we want reality to play out according to these desires and according to this power, but without doing it in a way that's forceful, without doing it in a way where we're trying to make things happen, where we are projecting our power externally. Instead, utilizing the energy from a place of strength, a fully embodied strength, a strength that doesn't need to prove itself or doesn't need to force the things outside of it. It's more of an allowance of what is coming while still honoring and embodying our power. From a sidereal and Vedic perspective, it's going to be in hexagram 28 and in the Anuradha Nakshatra. And if you're not familiar, Anuradha means another Radha. And Radha is the consort or the partner of Lord Krishna. And her frequency is very, very sweet and very loving and very beautiful and very powerful as well. As the Anuradha frequency represents a love which goes beyond just romantic love or a love that is conditional. It represents a very high level of love which comes from enduring friendship, and then in turn the devotional love, the devotional expression that comes from the embodiment of this kind of love for friendship. The symbol for Anuradha is also the lotus that is birthed out of the mud, having to go through the murky waters and out, up, meeting the air and the sun with its bloom. And then, when the night comes, it goes back down into the mud, into the dirt, into the murky waters, only to rise once again the next morning when the sun meets it. This symbolism is also a metaphor for our own transformation process, for all the things that we as humans must go through, for perhaps the things that we've gone through the past 6, 7, 8 months, and all that has bloomed from that space, right? The resiliency, the power, the awareness, the lessons that we've learned through the process of the bloom, of being down in the dirt, in the water, and coming back up. The symbolism feels very close to home for me. It resonates very, very deeply. Anuradha is also my rising sign, so I feel like I have a deep relationship with that energy. So hexagram 28 reminds us to not be afraid to look our fears in the face, to not act because of our fears. And through this facing of our fears, we can recognize and we can feel our ability and our potential to be immortal. In the gene key, this is one of the higher frequencies of this expression, immortality. It reminds us that in each thing that we do, in each chance that we take, in trusting ourselves enough to know that we can overcome the feeling, the projections of the mind, whatever it might be, which is triggered by our fears, that we can overcome that. We can step into a newer level of purpose, into a newer level of being. And this is what this energy is all about, which is so, so beautiful. One of the things that I recently heard from one of my favorite astrologers in regards to the past few months is that this time that we've had the past few months as we've been processing and healing, perhaps we've been oppressed in some way, whether it's externally or internally or whatever it is. And without having to blame any structure, any person, or even ourselves, how can we see this whole experience, right? This time frame that just passed, how can we see that whole thing as an opportunity, as it has been an opportunity for something else within us to be birthed? A structure, a paradigm, a way of living, for it to really be grounded in thanks to the experiences that we've had. So if we hadn't gone through those things, maybe we wouldn't have had the boundaries that we do now. Maybe we wouldn't have had the opportunities. Maybe we wouldn't have met the people that we met, and so on, right? And also from an internal perspective, ask yourself, looking back the past 5, 6, 7, 8 months, what have you gained as an individual? What have you built within yourself from this place of resiliency, from this place of having to face whatever you faced? And how could you really love and honor yourself for that, opposed to being in any kind of victim mode from having had that experience? Something to ponder. Another influence that we'll be experiencing in the skies, as I mentioned earlier, is the energy of Jupiter. So Jupiter is going to be trining the new moon in tropical Sagittarius, and Jupiter is also the ruler of Sagittarius. Jupiter is also in Pisces right now, at the very last few degrees of Pisces. So if you have the last few degrees of Pisces in your chart, if you have any planets there, I would check that out. That would mean that Jupiter is conjuncting those planets. I have my Mars at 29 degrees Pisces, so I'm feeling this energy significantly, I would say. And so Jupiter is Sagittarius's ruler, and Jupiter is also the traditional ruler of Pisces. And Jupiter's trining the new moon. So there's this big energy happening right now. We're feeling the influence, we're feeling the encouragement, if you will, and we're feeling the expansive propulsion of this Jupiterian energy as it's trining the moon in Sagittarius, in tropical Sagittarius, and as it's going to go direct, right? It's been in retrograde, so it's going to go direct shortly after the new moon. So this is a lot of movement energy for all of us. You might be feeling this, right? You might be feeling things getting a little bit lighter. It's not feeling as dense as it has been the past few months. There's more opportunity arising. There's more hope and optimism. That's all Sagittarian energy. And with the Vedic perspective, that Anuradha, which is in Scorpio, Sidereal Scorpio, this is about the transformation that has occurred and the transformation that is occurring. And this next threshold that we are all stepping into in our own personal evolution and in a collective evolution as well. You know, the microcosm to the macrocosm. So if you'd like to know how this energy is impacting you, I recommend that you pull up your natal chart. You could Google natal chart online and find it. And you're going to want to look to see where Sagittarius is, what house it's in your chart. And that'll give you an idea of how or where the kind of themes that this energy will play out in your life as. And you can also look up the last few degrees of Pisces, as I said. And that's where Jupiter is as well. So you're probably going to be feeling expansion in those energies of your chart. If you liked this video and you'd like to see more of my content, be sure to subscribe and also hit the like button. And if you're interested in booking a Human Designer Gene Key reading, I now offer recorded readings for those of you who might be too busy to spend an hour, hour and a half on a one-on-one call. That's available as well. And I still have my one-on-one face-to-face, digital face-to-face calls available as well, unless you're in Bali, and then we can meet in person. So to get the information in regards to that, go ahead and click the links below. And I'm sending you all so much grace and so much power and all of the blessings for this next chapter of expansion and hope and opportunity that is unfolding for you. Sending love.